Hi everyone, I'm David.
And I'm Ro.
And since RV season is just starting, we know that a lot of you are looking into buying a new or used RV. So in this video, we want to share with you guys 11 things that you need to be sure you look into when buying an RV.
The first thing you should do when shopping for an RV after you have the layout you want picked out is you should look on other websites like rvtrader.com or other websites where they sell RVs, whether brand new or used, and get an idea of what the price range for that RV is. Now, if you can't find the exact layout that you're looking into, you can try and find very similar layouts from the same manufacturer to give you an idea of what price range the trailer you're looking for is, because when you go into an RV dealer or you're talking with a private salesperson about buying their RV, you're going to want to make sure that you are getting a good deal.
Another thing you're going to want to look at is the condition of the tires. You know, it doesn't take a long time before trailer tires start to rot out, like dry rot from the sun or cold or moisture. And so you definitely want to check the sidewalls, check the tread to make sure, there's not some significant dry rot going on. And then, of course, check how much tread is left on the tires, because tires, cost a little bit of money. On our travel trailer, it's about $75 per tire, and we've got 5 tires, including the spare. And if you are getting a motorhome, especially a Class A, then the tires are going to be very expensive. So, you don't really want to buy an RV that you then immediately have to replace the tires on, unless whoever you're buying your RV from is willing to discount the price enough to compensate for the expense of new tires. And if you want to make sure that the tires aren't leaking at all, you can take a spray bottle with a soap water mixture in it and just spray it all over the tire, especially where the tire meets the rim, as well as the valve stem of the tire. And if you're seeing little bubbles form, then that tire is leaking right there.
Something else that is incredibly important to make sure that you check is the roof of any type of RV that you're going to be looking into. And our RV didn't come with a ladder on it, so if we were trying to buy our same RV used, we would want to make sure that we brought a ladder with us so that we can at the very least get up and inspect the roof. Now, we have a rubber roof on our trailer, and rubber roofs are very susceptible to damage. If they get scraped against a tree branch, it could cause little holes. If you've had some bad hail, that can cause some holes, and even if a trailer has just been sitting for a long time, there can be dry rot just from sun damage. And one really interesting tip that I've gotten before is if you have inspected the roof and you're comfortable with how it looks, you still should try and do this trick if you're able to. If you are inspecting a roof and have access to a water hose, you should hose down your roof, just get it really drenched and drench it for a little while, and then step inside and make sure that there aren't any water leaks anywhere. And this is something that can save a lot of you from unknown water damage. Now, this doesn't just go for rubber roofs. All sorts of RV roofs are susceptible to damage, and it is very, very important that you make sure that they're not damaged, because if you purchase an RV with a damaged roof, it is going to be a very expensive repair for you.
Speaking of possible water damage, the next thing you need to look for is mold. Even if you see no signs of water damage in an RV, if you find mold, then that is a good indication that there are leaks in the floors or ceiling. So you're going to want to check the corners of the ceiling and floors, as well as, all over inside of the bathroom, around the caulk and around the water fixtures like sinks and toilets for any mold. And even if there are no there's no leaks in the RV at all, you can still get mold from condensation. Condensation inside of cabinets and along windows or doors is very normal inside of RVs. And if that condensation is allowed to just sit there, then mold will grow. We've even battled having mold in our own travel trailer because of condensation. So you're going to want to open up all of the cabinets, check inside for any mold growth, and if the inside of the cabinets are warmer than the rest of the RV, then that's a good indication that there's mold in there somewhere.
If any water has seeped below the floor lining, it could actually be hard to see any water damage. You know, you don't have indications of mold, you don't have water dripping from the ceiling. So a good way to determine if you have a bad floor is actually to go to key areas of it, like around the kitchen or in the bathroom, and jump on it a little bit. I know that sounds kind of silly, but if you jump on the floor and it gives a little bit, or the wood doesn't feel quite so sturdy or strong, it could be an indication that water has leaked under the floor lining and has begun to cause some rotting.
After checking the floors, you're going to want to go outside and open up all of the storage bay compartments and push on the walls and the ceiling of all of those storage bay compartments because, again, you're checking for water damage. All of the walls and ceilings and floors in the compartments should be good and sturdy. If there's water damage, then it will have begun to rot out the wood inside and you'll feel it start to give. Also, you're going to want to push on the exterior walls and push on the interior walls for that matter. Everything should be nice and sturdy. And you're probably seeing a theme here, and it's that, you know, you really need to check for water damage because it can be sort of hard to find. It can be hidden away. And it's a really big deal, a very expensive thing to fix. And, you know, you need to be very vigilant when searching for water damage.
The next thing you want to do is actually run all of the appliances and lights if you are able to. You know, you're going to want to go through and you're going to want to turn all the lights on, make sure that all of the switches work, and especially the appliances. You know, you're going to want to turn the fans on, you're going to want to try and turn the stove on. You know, if you have to have a lighter to light it or something, you're going to want to make sure that everything lights, everything works properly. You know, try and turn the AC on if you can. Make sure that that is working. Try and turn, you know, your exhaust fan in the bathroom on to make sure that's working. There are all sorts of things where if a trailer sits for a little while, things just stop working. You know, you're going to want to turn the refrigerator on. You're going to want to wait a certain amount of hours to make sure that your refrigerator is actually cooling, because if you buy an RV without testing any of these appliances and you find out that your fridge doesn't cool, or your air conditioner doesn't turn on, or it doesn't blow cold air, or your max fan is out for whatever reason, those are going to be things that now you have to deal with that. And especially if you have a lot of them out at once, they can add up to some costly little repairs. Going along with that, you're going to want to find the electrical panel for the RV and open it up while you're running some of these appliances. And what you're going to want to look for is you're going to want to make sure that none of the breakers are tripping. You're going to want to make sure that none of the lights next to the fuses are turning on, indicating that there's an issue. And you're probably going to want to pull out the fuses to make sure that none of them are blown. And a blown fuse or something in here going wrong could be an indication of a much larger electrical problem, which then you now have to trace and fix. And if you are unable to test these things because of the location of the RV, let's say there's no power outlet nearby, you can always bring a generator with you in order to power those larger appliances like the AC and the refrigerator to make sure that they're working.
The next thing you need to make sure you check is for any propane leaks. Now, this is very similar to checking for leaks in a tire. You know, take that spray bottle that has that soap water mixture in it and just spray along any fittings on your propane lines. Spray that around the propane regulator, the propane pigtails that run from the regulator to the propane bottles themselves. And, you know, you'll have to probably get down on your hands and knees, get up under the trailer or the motorhome to be able to find all of these propane fittings. But again, this could be something that is just a huge pain if you're leaking propane when you're at the campsite. You know, this is just going to be a big pain to fix, and something that if you can find up front, it's going to save you a lot of headaches.
Just like with purchasing a used vehicle, you're going to want to research the VIN number of any used RV that you're looking into. Now, researching the VIN number is going to give you a couple of ideas about it. It's going to possibly tell you how many owners it's had. It's going to possibly tell you if it's been damaged at all. It might tell you if it's had a salvaged title or if it's been stolen, as well as even some manufacturer specifications and recalls. So it's very important to look into the VIN number just to get an idea of what you're getting yourself into.
The next thing you're going to want to make sure you do is take the RV for a test drive. Now, You're probably not going to be able to do this for like a travel trailer or a fifth wheel, but if it's a motorhome, you absolutely should take this thing on the road before buying it because it's just going to give you a better overall feel for the quality of the RV, and you're going to want to be listening for any weird noises, clunks, rattles that you could only hear driving it out on the road. You're definitely going to want to take it onto the highway as well as into a parking lot so you can see if there are any weird noises or anything odd going on under tight turns or when backing up. Also, it's a good idea to have the owner along with you or the salesman so you can ask them about specific issues that you might hear or feel on the test drive.
The last thing you're going to want to do before you officially pull the trigger and buy that RV that you've been wanting is you're going to want to get an insurance quote. Because you might be okay with the price of the RV that you're buying, but insurance for it might be through the roof. And so you're going to want to be able to look at both of those to give yourselves an idea of what it's going to cost you throughout the year.
So those have been 11 things that you definitely need to look into before buying a new or used RV. Now, if you guys have anything that you can think of that maybe we missed, some tips of what other RVers should look into before buying, then please post them in the comments below to help them out. But that's all for us in this video. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye!
Bye.
Bye. Say bye.
Yeah, good girl.
Good girl.